You are Locked On Giants Postcast, part of Locked On Sports San Francisco on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Yo, what's up, everyone, and welcome back to the Locked On Giants Postcast. I'm your host, Eric Triple E Engel. You may know me as the former producer for the Manfred Man Morning Show on KMBR. And today, the Giants lose again in extras to the Braves. And again, it's because the Braves were able to score the Manfred Man and the Giants could not. Entering the series, they had a chance to catch the Braves for the final spot in the National League wildcard race. But now, with back-to-back devastating losses for this ball club, they sit 3.5 games back from the Braves with only 2 games left in this series. A huge missed opportunity for this team. It feels like the magic and the time in this season are starting to dwindle. We'll break it all down. But first, I want to thank all of you for watching us on the Locked On Sports San Francisco YouTube channel. Please hit that subscribe button if you aren't already subscribed. Thanks also for listening on the Locked On Giants podcast feed. However you're getting the show, we appreciate you tuning in, and make sure to check out the Locked On Giants Daily Show for more in-depth coverage. Ben Kaspick does a great job. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Make every moment more. As the playoffs wind down, the sports stop sportsing like we want them to. But this summer, FanDuel is hooking up all customers with a boost or bonus daily. That's right. There's something for everyone every day all summer long. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. Kyle Harrison was also a little wonky in this one. The one thing we left out of that intro, Kyle Harrison velo is down, and he was seemingly a little bit afraid to go inside on right-handers today. And that was evident early on as he kept nibbling on the outside corner until he eventually got. And Loreno, a solo shot to the right, to right over the right field wall. Loreno, the laser, they used to call him, it hit a laser beam straight out of Oracle Park. That ball was a line drive on a frozen rope out over that right field wall. It got to a Harrison fastball that was left kind of up about belt high away, and that's all he was doing all day long, was nibbling that outside part of the plate. The Braves hitters locked in on that and started looking to go the opposite way pretty early on in this one. It appeared that was their approach from the jump, and Harrison couldn't really adjust. So credit the Braves for having that approach coming into this one. That home run gave them a 1-0 lead in the top of the second. Then Kyle Harrison walked Whit Merrifield, and then Jorge double Soler came back to California, the home of in and out. So you know he had to hit a double today. Back in Oracle Park for the first series since he was traded away. Obviously, he played yesterday as well. Doubled to score Merrifield. Braves take a 2-0 lead there in the top of the second. And the Giants traded runs with them for a little bit in this one. In the bottom of the second, Chapman leadoff single. Mike Yastrzemski then singled himself, putting runners at the corners with nobody out. But we know the Giants, and we know what they do in these situations, which is not a whole heck of a lot. Thankfully, they managed to get a run this time, but not anything else. Pat Bailey, ground ball out, scores a run. Productive outs, we'll take them in the scenario. We'd like to see a rally where the Giants are able to string some hits together with runners on base and scoring position, but we have not seen that from this team in quite some time. A productive out is about as good as you can hope for from this team right now in that type of situation. Pat Bailey, although he has been absolutely horrendous at the plate as of late, dating back to that last road trip. I mean, he's got like 3 hits since the start of that last road trip. Up until now, it's been bad for Pat Bailey. But the RBI there, I mean, we'll take it. Cuts the Braves lead to 2-1. But the Giants couldn't score Mike Yastrzemski from second base as he moved to second on that out. He was at second with 1 out. Couldn't score him, stranded him there. The Giants still trailed 2-1. Then in the top of the third, d'Arnaud smashes a home run, gives the Braves a 3-1 lead, and that ball was only 90 miles an hour, 90.9 miles an hour from Kyle Harrison, and he left it kind of over the middle of the plate. And these velo problems, man, I mean, Kyle Harrison, the way he gets away with how he pitches is because of that velo and that late life on the fastball. That late life isn't as great when that velo isn't as high. And if you heard Mike Krukow talking on the pregame on NBC Sports Bay Area, he talked about how he survived late in his career as a pitcher who did not have a very fast fastball. Early in Kruko's career, he had a heater, but in season 17, he did not have the same gas, the same firepower he had early in his career. And he talked about how he would establish the inside fastball. And it was all location, and then change speeds and eye level with the off-speed stuff, with a changeup and a breaking pitch. Kyle Harrison did absolutely none of that today. He's not accurate enough as a pitcher to be able to do what Mike Krukow was talking about on that pregame, and he got today because of it. He's had home run problems in his career, and this could be the start of him having a not so great second half of the season, last couple months of the season. I mean, we have to keep in mind that this is more innings, more pitches than this guy has ever thrown in his entire life in one season. So, I mean, he's a young kid. He just turned 23 yesterday. So he's got a long ways to go to improve. He's got a lot of time that he can still spend getting better. But for now, a guy who's 23 years old and pressing to finish out this season and get the Giants wins in big, huge, important games. Biggest game of the season, even bigger than yesterday's, which we proclaimed was the biggest game of the season up to this point. And of course, tomorrow's game will be even bigger than today's was. Every game in this Brave series is insanely important to this Giants team, could determine tiebreakers. It isn't a great opportunity to have a head-to-head matchup with a team that's directly in front of you in the wild card race, and gives you a chance to catch them in a way that you're probably not going to have too great of a chance later on in the season to make up this much ground in this short of a time, playing head-to-head games in a 4-game series nonetheless. And the Giants have really, S the bed in these first 2 games. I mean, they played them close, they played them tight, but they're just not able to get hits when it matters most. In the bottom of the third, the Giants did respond to that d'Arnaud home run with a home run of their own. Tyler Fitzgerald hits another shot, his 13th of the season, cut the Braves lead to 3-2. It was a middle-in changeup, and again, this guy hits all pitches really, really well. It doesn't matter if it's a slider, a fastball, a curveball, a changeup, 2-seam, 4-seam, sinker, splitter, doesn't seem to matter. Fitzgerald seems to mash any pitch that is on the inner half of the plate. This guy loves to pull the ball. You see that nice compact swing where he keeps his hands nice and inside the ball. The thing that Will Clark always talks about as a hitting instructor, especially when he's working with younger Giants. It's one of the main things Tyler Fitzgerald does really well at the plate, makes his swing super easy and repeatable with that slight uppercut that he's got to it. And because of that swing, sets him up perfectly to hit inside pitches. And it's not a surprise that he's such a pull hitter. In all of his home runs this season, every single one of them has gone to left field or center. He doesn't have a single home run to right field. He's only got 1 home run to center field. Everything else has been to left or left center. This guy loves to pull the ball, and he hunts those pitches on the inside half of the plate. Got one there, and he jumped all over it. Hit that one 425 feet, 106.1 miles an hour off the bat. His 13th of the season, as I said, and his 12th since about a month ago, since July 9th. So this guy is on an unreal tear through this last month. I mean, you guys know he's just been playing out of his mind and continues to do so today. However, it would be nice to see the Giants, I don't know, maybe be able to get some runners on in front of these hitters. It's been really tough that every single one of these Giants home runs seems to be a solo home run. But when you're doing a really bad job of drawing walks like the Giants did today, only 2 walks all night long, and you're striking out a bunch, 10 strikeouts again for the Giants, up in double-digit strikeouts, it's tough. It's also tough when you're the leadoff batter of the inning, which Tyler Fitzgerald was in this inning. So the Giants did not have an opportunity to put a runner on in front of Tyler Fitzgerald in this situation. But nonetheless, it's still frustrating, man. I am so tired of seeing the Giants hit solo home runs. It just feels like their maximum allotment for runs per inning is like maximum 1 run, maybe 2. But this team can't put a rally together for the life of them right now. After that run, that Tyler Fitzgerald home run, the Giants did score 1 more time. They had an opportunity in the 4th inning after Bailey singled and Wisely was hit by a pitch, but they couldn't get it done then. Bailey was stranded at second base. But in the bottom of the 8th, Lamont Wade Jr. comes up and shoots one to left, and Soler misplayed it. I mean, this inning, this 1 run that came in the 8th inning, I want you guys to know every bit of this was a gift from the Atlanta Braves to the San Francisco Giants. They did not really earn this run at all. Lamont Wade shoots one into the left center field gap. Soler took a really bad route to this ball, misplayed it, gets over his head and up against the wall, and Lamont Wade Jr. has a leadoff double. And let me tell you, that's why the Giants did not play Jorge Soler in the outfield. You saw that on display right there. I mean, that was not a super tough play for him to make. All he needs to do is take the right route to that ball, and he catches it. Ramos then reaches on an error after a dribbler down the third baseline. Austin Riley couldn't really handle it. He had to come in on it. Should have been an out. He should have made that play. Wasn't able to do it. It was a pretty funny visual the way he bobbled that ball and then recollected it, tried to gather a second time and throw, even though he was not going to be able to get that runner at first. That throw was going to be late. Ramos runs decently well. And as he tried to throw, the ball just like squirted out of his hand, like behind him. So, I mean, if you could manage to get 2 errors in one play, I think Riley kind of might have deserved that. I mean, if he had thrown that ball into the stands, maybe he would have gotten 2 errors in that one play, but basically looked like 2 errors to me, but only ruled as one. So Giants got first and second. Lamont Wade can't advance on the play to third base from second based on the where the ball was hit and everything, how slow it was hit in front of him. It didn't have an opportunity to break for third on the play. So the Giants have first and second with nobody out. And up comes Michael Conforto, who promptly grounds into a double play. At least he moved Lamont Wade Jr. over to third base. But, I mean, in that situation, I want to see every single Giant on this roster bunting. I don't care who it is. Tyler Fitzgerald, Elliot Ramos, I truly do not care. I want them to bunt because this team has proven time and time again that they cannot buy a hit with runners in scoring position. So get some productive outs. No more strikeouts, no more ground balls that don't advance the runner, no more terrible wasted outs. I mean, if you're going to make outs in these instances, at least let it be a productive out, which the Giants seem to be allergic to, although they did get one of them in this game from the Pat Bailey ground ball RBI earlier on. But this one, they needed the Braves to bail them out with 2 outs. The absolute scud missile from the Braves pitcher that's a couple feet off the plate, hits the dirt, kicks off d'Arnaud and hits his shoulder and bounces several feet away from him. Well, I mean, far away from d'Arnaud. Really had no chance of keeping Lamont Wade Jr. at third. The wild pitch allows him to score and tie the game at 3 runs apiece. And then in the extra innings, that's where the Giants again couldn't get it done. But on the way there, we did get to see a Jordan Hicks look very rejuvenated in the 9th inning. I kind of want to get into that a little bit later if we have time. I really like the move of putting Hicks back into the bullpen. I think maybe next year we see how the starter stuff goes and see if he can get stretched out longer. But he looks great right now in that bullpen. Finished off that 9th inning with 100-mile-an-hour 2-seamer for the strikeout to end the inning. He looks really good right now. Then in the top of the 10th, d'Arnaud, who was in the center of all the action in this one, hits a chopper to the right side of the infield, and it gets through the hole between Lamont Wade Jr. and Casey Schmidt to score the Manfred Man from second base. Casey Schmidt dove, made a really good effort, got just a piece of the glove on it, but couldn't make the play. Would have just been an unreal play if he made it. And I mean, really, really, really high degree of difficulty on that play. He gave every bit of effort he had. Very next play, he does make a diving stop on a ball in the hole. And it was a key important second out of the inning to prevent the Braves from really generating a run and keeping that to a 1-run game. So the Giants could have the opportunity to come in and score the Manfred Man and keep this one going. In the bottom of the 10th, the Giants do exactly what I recommended that they do in these situations. They bunted. They did it. Tyler Fitzgerald even. He was the guy at the dish who I frankly don't care who it is. They need to figure out how to get these guys in, how to get these runs in without hitting home runs. Yes, it's nice when Tyler Fitzgerald is on this home run tear. It's also nice when Chapman's hitting home runs, but all of these streaks come to an end. And until today, the Giants were in the midst of their second longest homerless streak of the season, which is why the offense has kind of been sputtering, especially last night, especially tonight. You see Tyler Fitzgerald kind of get off the schneid and smash one out of here. But when the team isn't smashing home runs, they're not really scoring. And in this one, Fitzgerald tries to lay down the bunt, and it goes about 2 inches in front of home plate. At first, they called Casey Schmidt out at third as Darno fielded the ball cleanly, threw him out at third. No, I mean, by several feet, he really didn't have a chance. He was completely hung out to dry. Terrible bunt by Tyler Fitzgerald. But then they overturned it, and they told Schmidt to go back to second, and they called Fitzgerald out on the play. It was weird. I mean, it was a weird decision. I thought that it was pretty clear that it was a fair ball, and Fitzgerald, I didn't really see him touch it. Maybe he did. Maybe he ran into his own bunt, and that's why they called. I mean, that's the only thing that I can logically think of as to why he was called out on that play. Nonetheless, Fitzgerald's bunt is a failure. They don't advance Casey Schmidt, and the Giants fail to score a run in that inning. And that's how this one ends. Again, because of the Manfred Man scoring and the Braves being able to get one more hit than the Giants in extra innings. I mean, Lamont Wade Jr. came up next and flew out, and then Elliot Ramos flew out to end the game. It's really frustrating to continue to lose games this way. The way that with just the Manfred Man being the difference is, it just drives me insane, man. This is my least favorite rule in all of baseball. My least favorite rule change. Some of them have been decent. I like the bigger bases, things like that. You know, like the pitch clock has been, I think, a pretty good rule. I think we're all kind of in favor of baseball games not taking 4+ hours anymore. But I can't get behind this Manfred Man rule. I just can't, man. And I'm not saying that because I'm just salty the Giants are losing games this way. I'm saying it because it sucks to see your team lose because the other team could hit a single. That shouldn't be the difference in a baseball game, is one single. Unless it's a single in the middle of a rally that you were able to put together. But a standalone base hit should not be the difference in any baseball game. It should not be the deciding factor of a Major League Baseball game. It just shouldn't. With the loss, the Giants are now back down to 500, 61-61. They got 2 more games against the Braves. We'll see how they do finishing up the rest of this series. We got to take a quick break here on the Locked On Giants postcast, but on the other side, I want to talk a little bit about Kyle Harrison's day and what really was, I mean, it was an okay start for Harrison. But the data behind the surface level numbers kind of troubles me. Kyle Harrison kind of a little wonky today. Let's get into it on the other side of the Locked On Giants postcast. I'm your host, Eric Triple E Engel. We'll be right back. Are you taking that dream vacation this summer but dreading the cost? With Ibotta, you can get cash back on all of your purchases so you can spend more time making memories this summer and less time dreaming about them. Ibotta is a free app that lets you earn cash back every time you shop. Earn on hundreds of items from groceries to beauty supplies, even toys, so you can make sure you're beating inflation no matter what you're purchasing. The average Ibotta user earns $256 per year. That could cover the cost of an entire shopping trip, that flight you've been eyeing, or that fancy dinner you've been craving. If you know me, you know I love a fancy dinner. Other apps give you points that don't amount to much. With Ibotta, you earn cash back that you can withdraw to your bank account, PayPal, or gift cards. Simply add offers in the app, upload your receipt, and voila, the money is yours. You can save on over 2,400 brands and shop at over 1,000 retailers, including your favorite grocery stores, Lowe's, Macy's, Sephora, Best Buy, and more. It's time you joined the over 50 million users who use Ibotta to earn cash back every time they shop. Right now, Ibotta is offering our listeners $5 just for trying Ibotta by using code LOCKEDONMLB when you register. Just go to the App Store or Google Play Store and download the free Ibotta app to start earning cash back and use code LOCKEDONMLB. That's IBOTTA in the Google Play or App Store and use code LOCKEDONMLB. Today's show is also sponsored by FanDuel. I love sports. I love them so much. I never want them to stop. But as the playoffs wind down, we get fewer and fewer games, and the sports just aren't sportsing like I want them to. But FanDuel lets me keep the sports going whenever I want. All I have to do is open the app, dream up bets anytime I'm in the mood. And this summer, FanDuel is hooking up all customers with a boost or bonus daily. That's right. There's something for everyone every day all summer long. So head on over to FanDuel.com. Start making the most out of your summer. FanDuel, official sports betting partner of Major League Baseball. Welcome back to the Locked On Giants postcast. I'm your host, Eric Triple E Engel, and today the Giants fall again in extra innings, 4-3 to the Braves, and the difference is the Manfred Man. And as someone pointed out in the chat, the difference the difference also kind of was Jorge Soler driving in a run for Atlanta instead of San Francisco. Dude's also advocating to fire Farhan, and we're getting closer and closer to that point. I mean, I think we need to let this see how the season plays out. If the Giants miss the playoffs, I think it's time to bring out the guillotine. You know what I mean? I mean, this is a team that should make the playoffs on paper. I mean, just push the right buttons. And it's not just Farhan. Bob Melvin has the responsibility to push these right buttons too. And he's not been doing a very good job. This team is at 500 on August. What is it? 13th, August 13th. We're sitting at 500. I think we thought this team would be better than this. I mean, on paper, this team looks better than their record shows. It's just not panned out. I mean, the pitching, all the injuries in the first half of the season, the way that I mean, it just hasn't been their year. Some of it has been, just these are the breaks kind of deal, but a lot of it's also been the Giants failing to come up big in the situations where they have opportunities to go out there and win a game, to have something with I don't know, like to recapture some of that magic from the 2010s, where it seemed like guys like Cody Ross were coming up with big hits and key moments, and Marco Scutaro and all these other role players. And I got to tell you, all the Giants role players, like the Michael Confortos of the world, the Mike Yastrzemskis of the world, I mean, they're not playing much of a role for this team. They're really down this year. And I mean, they were 0 for 10 with runners in scoring position again tonight, failed to come up with a base hit in these situations. I mean, they just lucked into runs tonight, and they couldn't give their guy Kyle Harrison any sort of run support. And Harrison had a gritty day. I mean, he had 5 innings, gave up 6 hits, 3 runs, 2 walks, did have 6 strikeouts, but 2 home runs. His ERA up to 4.14 on the season. And I mean, it wasn't a terrible day from Harrison. I mean, as far as the quality start stat goes, this falls under the category of a quality start, even though he did have a lot of issues with that location, with that fastball velocity. The Giants just couldn't really give him any run support. And as I said, the velo for Kyle Harrison was way down today, way down. His average velo on that 4-seam fastball was just 92 miles an hour. I mean, that's super far down from what we've seen from him so far this year with that 4-seamer, which is, I mean, he's generally thrown it around. Like, we see him pumping 96, 97 a lot of the time with that 4-seamer. Today we saw it dipping down to like 90 flat, which is not nearly the same. When you shave off 5-6 miles an hour from that fastball, it makes it much more hittable. That sharp bite isn't as sharp at the end, and it makes his off-speed stuff a little bit less effective, as the velo difference isn't as significant as when that fastball is pumping. And he got touched up a little bit today. I mean, the swing and miss stuff was decent. He had 34% whiff rate. That's pretty solid, but he also got hit kind of hard. I mean, each one of his pitches had a pretty high exit velo. I mean, pretty high average exit velo. The fastball was coming off the bat of the opponent at 98.1 miles an hour on average. That's way too high. It's a lot of hard hit balls, making life really hard on your defense. The changeup average exit velo was 90.9 miles an hour. It's also a pretty high average exit velo. The slurve was down at 88, so that's not terrible, but still not ideal. I mean, he's not getting a lot of soft contact up there. And as I said, 34% swing and miss rate. I mean, that's still a lot of, I mean, that's a decent swing and miss rate, but that still leaves a lot of balls that are being put in play and at a pretty high velo. It's tough for your defense to continue to record outs, and you got to, I mean, at least give this guy something as far as run support goes. You got to credit the Giants for being able to work around all of this. I'm going to say a subpar start for Kyle Harrison. We've seen him be much better than he was today. And it's not, this loss isn't on him. He shouldn't shoulder this loss at all. 3 runs in 5 innings isn't terrible. We've seen that a lot this season from the Giants in games that they've won. But the Giants do need to score more than 3 runs to win games. We've seen that all season long. I mean, we've talked about this stat several times about their record when they score 3 or more runs, or 4 or more runs, excuse me. And that's been kind of the differentiating factor for this Giants is when they score, they win. When they don't, they lose. When they score 4 or more runs, they're 47-22 coming into this one. Now 47-20. Now, and when they score 3 or fewer runs, they're 14-38. Now 14-39. So that one run makes a big difference for this Giants team. Your pitchers are usually going to hold your opponent to 3 runs or less in a 9-inning game. And that's what the Giants did today. They held the Braves to 3 runs or less in a 9-inning game. This one goes 10. The Braves get another run, and the Giants can't do it. And as I said, they were 0 for 10 with runners in scoring position. The Braves, 1 for 10. That one swing of the bat made all the difference in the world tonight as the Giants fall 4-3 to the Atlanta Braves. And they're on the outside looking in of this wild card race now, 3.5 games back. And it's getting crowded there. You got the Cardinals, you got the Cubs, you got the Reds, all within striking distance, the Mets as well. And of course, the Braves holding on to this final wild card spot. The Padres and Diamondbacks just can't seem to stop losing, or just they can't seem to lose a game right now. Both teams just going on absolute tears as far as winning goes right now. But the Giants, you got to beat who's in front of you, and right now it's the Braves. You got 2 more games against this team. You must win these next 2. If you lose this series flat out, or are in danger of getting swept in a 4-game series, I mean, I think we all know what omen that spells for this Giants team. And even in the City Connects, man, with the loss in the City Connects, the Giants have a losing record now this season in these creamsicles. You know, I mean, we all didn't really like the uniform when it came out, but then they started winning whenever they wore it, and now that magic seems to be wearing off too. And I'm starting to go back to hating the creamsicles. So it is what it is. Tuesday nights are kind of funky. It's a lot better when they win, when they're wearing those weird uniforms with those orange helmets. But yeah, I mean, this loss is tough. It's even tougher because of the way they lost, considering they lost the same exact way last night, failing to come up with hits in scoring position, failing to come up with hits while they have runners in scoring position, I should say. And we'll get into that a little bit on the other side, wrap up this show, and put a bow on this one on the Locked On Giants postcast. I'm your host, Eric Triple E Engel. We'll be right back. Get supplies from the site that's made for the skilled trades, SupplyHouse.com. SupplyHouse.com is the reliable way to order plumbing, HVAC, and electrical products online. Their easy-to-use website is jam-packed with helpful resources and the latest product info to help you get the job done right. Shop a complete inventory of over 200,000 parts from over 400 top brands. Get your order delivered right to your door with fast shipping from coast to coast. Need help with an order? Get expert support and industry-leading service from the friendliest folks in the business, and talk to a real person every time. Pros in the skilled trades can get a competitive edge by joining SupplyHouse.com's free Trade Master program. Every Trade Master gets access to a dedicated phone line, free shipping, and discounts on every order. Join the thousands of trade pros already benefiting from their free membership at SupplyHouse.com/T-M and order plumbing, HVAC, and electrical supplies from anywhere with just a few clicks at SupplyHouse.com. Welcome back to the Locked On Giants postcast. I'm Eric Triple E Engel, and the Giants lose this one 4-3 to the Atlanta Braves. And again, runners in scoring position. Giants cannot hit at all. I mean, and today, I should also mention Charlie Morton started for the Braves. And this guy, who had one of the worst starts of his career in his last time out, gave up 4 bombs in his last outing and 8 earned runs. The Giants made this guy's 150-year-old arm looked like it was 28 again, because he pitched a great game. I mean, dude went 6 innings, only gave up 2 runs, and had 8 strikeouts to his 1 walk. I mean, Charlie Morton, who's had an ERA like this month over 8 and last month over 5. I mean, just making the Giants just making him look great out there, because this team is so bad when it comes to hitting with runners in scoring position. I mean, today, 0 for 10. Yesterday, they were 1 for 8. And the Giants, they're 29 for 157. That's a 185 batting average since July 26th with runners in scoring position. It's second to last in all of baseball. It's 29th in the MLB, only ahead of Tampa Bay, and it's the lowest in the National League. Their season batting average with runners in scoring position is 235. 4. That's not very good, and it would be the lowest by a Giants team in over a decade. The last Giants team to hit this poorly with runners in scoring position was the 2011 team. They hit 219 in these situations. And as I said, today was, 0 for 10 is bad. Really, really, really bad. You have 10 chances. Even if you go 1 for 10 like the Braves did, it's a 100 batting average with runners in scoring position. And that would have still been a massive improvement from where the Giants were at today. That was the difference in this game. The home run from Fitzgerald was nice. It snapped a homerless streak that, it was their second longest homerless drought of the season. It was a 5-game stretch, and Tyler Fitzgerald snapped that one. So that's great. But the home runs can only disguise the lack of run support and the lack of ability to hit with in these situations. Their situational hitting is so terrible. You can only disguise that with home runs for so long. Guys eventually cool off. Matt Chapman, looking at you, dude, he cooled off big time in these recent weeks. He went over, or that was Conforto who went over 4 today. Excuse me. Chapman drew a couple walks and did get a hit in this one, so not his worst day at the plate. He also scored a run, but the power just isn't there. The home run power is not there in this lineup like it was earlier in the season, like it was even a couple weeks ago. And you can't ride home runs to wins. You can't ride home runs with this team to the playoffs. It's just not how this team is built. It's not going to get you there. You need to do it by manufacturing runs and with your pitching. And today you had the pitching. The bullpen stood tall. We didn't really talk about the bullpen. I talked a little bit about Jordan Hicks. I do really like him on the back half of that bullpen. We saw Landon Roop again today. I do really, really, really like this kid as well. We saw 2 innings from him, 3 strikeouts. That curveball is just nasty. And Sean Jelly, another shutdown inning for him. Randy Rodriguez was good in the 10th inning. All he did was give up 1 single on a chopper to the right side, but that ended up being the difference. And he takes the loss, which it feels wrong, man. Like, you shouldn't be giving a guy a loss for giving up 1 hit that was a single. That's rough. It's a rough way to lose a game. So the Giants lost 4-3, back-to-back losses now due to the Manfred Man scoring for the other team in extra innings, and the Giants not being able to figure out how to lay down a bunt or come up with a base hit with the runner in scoring position. Very tough, very tough. Feels like the season is slipping away. It just doesn't feel the same as years past when the Giants were able to turn it on late in the season and sprinkle some of that, even year magic into the mix and go on a run and make it happen. It just doesn't feel like this team is built the same. These role players just don't step up the same way that the ones of Giants teams past have. It's just inconsistent, man. It just doesn't feel the same. I'm not feeling the particles. I'm not feeling the vibes. It's just how it is. It's just how it is. The Giants got 2 more games against this Braves team here at Oracle Park before they wrap up this series. They really need both of these games. Absolutely need to win both of them. You can feel this season starting to slip away in this series. If the Giants lose tomorrow, and if they end up getting swept in this series, I think you can kiss the playoffs goodbye. I think we'll be pointing to this series as a pivot point one way or the other for this Giants season and how it ends up. We'll see how they do tomorrow. We'll see how it happens. But, it feels like it's right on the break. That's all the time that we got for you guys today on the Locked On Giants postcast. I'm your host, Eric Triple E Engel. We'll see you tomorrow as the Giants take on the Braves yet again in the 3rd game of this 4-game set at Oracle Park. We'll see you tomorrow. Peace.